بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم
ورحمة الله وبركاته. Indeed, we are going through these nights which are associated with Mawlaya Muttaqiyan. We're going through these sorrowful nights in which Mawlaya Muttaqiyan was martyred. These nights are the ones in which Imam took this opportunity to explain and to give wasiyah to his children in particular. And then towards the end of the wasiyah, Imam also mentioned that to whoever it reaches. Alaikum salam. And I chose just a couple of sentences from that wasiyat, from that will of Amirul Mu'mineen, to look over and ponder as to what is it that is most important to Mawlaya Muttaqiyan at that particular time. The time when he has been struck by a sword, and the time where he realizes that he does not have a great deal of time in his hands. What it is that is most important to Mawlaya Muttaqiyan? And if we look through this lecture which Amirul Mu'mineen gave specifically to his sons Imam Hassan and Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, which is lecture number 47 from Nahjul Balagha. I would urge all of the youngsters especially to go home, and these days it's very easy. You don't have to have the book. You Google by writing Nahjul Balagha letter number 47 and you'll see it comes up in different languages, and just read through it as to how every single word that comes out of the tongue of Amirul Mu'mineen starts with the word Allah, Allah, by God, by God. And then Imam gives the whole wasiyah. Tonight, in the brief time that I have, we'll only focus on two aspects of this wasiyah that Imam is narrating and Imam is explaining. And it reaches to all of us. One thing that Imam is recommending us and he's commanding us towards, he says, Allah, Allah fil Quran. By God, take care of this Quran. Why? لا يسبقكم بالعمل به غيركم. No one should exceed and excel and surpass you in following its tenets. Nobody should exceed you. You are the ones who are, inheritors of this Quran, lest someone else, an outsider, goes out and excels you when it comes to this Quran. And unfortunately, that is what has happened over the period of 1400 years, where we have taken this Quran only for those occasions when someone leaves this world. When someone dies, we go ahead and recite this Quran, or if we have some opportunity, we recite this Quran in this month of Ramadan. But other than that, we have stranded this Quran. My discussion from the very first day that I began was in regards to this Quran. Not going to repeat any of those things, because Mawlaya Muttaqiyan's words are heavier than anything that we can say. He said, don't let anyone else take heed. Don't let anyone else excel when it comes to this Quran. Here it is a moment of truth for us that we look at ourselves as to how much have we benefited from this Quran. Or forget about benefiting from this Quran, how much have we paid attention towards this Quran, which Amirul Mu'mineen on his deathbed is making this recommendation to us. It is a moment for us to all ponder and think about. This is where Quran is a guide, where Amirul Mu'mineen on different occasions mentions that this is a book which will guide you towards the path which has been promised by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a book which cannot mislead you. It is a book, when you sit next to it, you will come out having learned something, having gotten intimacy with this book, and you will not lose anything by sitting next to this book. And this is the critical moment of the life of any individual. You look at your lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give everybody a long and healthy life, but we look at towards the end of our life, everybody has to leave this world. There's a time, there's a transitory period that everyone must leave. And when you are at that last moment of your life, what it is that you're going to go ahead and perform. Imagine if we were told by the doctors and the experts that you only have a couple of days on your hand. Yes, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives life and death, but they're able to predict to an extent looking at your condition. When you know you only have a few days in your hand, 24 to 48 hours in your hand, what is it that you're going to go ahead and do at that time? Are you going to be busy on your phones? Are you going to be busy watching your favorite sports? Are you going to be busy in other things? I think every single person, logical, rational individual will be the one who will take care of the hereafter at that moment. Forget about these worldly things, because I don't have a great deal of time in my hand. This is where Amir al-Mu'mineen, yes, he is the one, and I will get towards the end, Qasimun Nari wal Jannah, the one who gets to decide who gets to go to paradise and hell. When this was said about Amir al-Mu'mineen, people raised question as to you exaggerate about Amir al-Mu'mineen. Why do you exaggerate by saying that he is the one who decides which one goes to Jahannam and which one goes to paradise? Ali Qasimun Nar wal Jannah is a riwayah, is a hadith. So you exaggerate about it. Imam Shafi'i comes in to defend. You know what Imam Shafi'i says? When this was mentioned to him, he said, why do you doubt this? Do you doubt about this hadith of Rasulullah in which he said, Hubbu aliyin iman wa bughduhu kufr? Nobody said no. We believe that Prophet said that love towards Ali is iman and hate and grudge against Ali is kufr. He said, then I ask you a question. Who is going to go to the paradise? Mu'mineen are going to enter the paradise. Who is going to be in the hellfire? He said, kuffar will be in the hellfire. He said, here you go. Ali becomes Qasimun Nari wal Jannah. If you love Ali, you become mu'min and you enter paradise. If you hate Ali, you become kafir and you enter the hellfire. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Imam over here is saying, and there are many other riwayat in this regards as well, that he will be the shield from the hell. These are all the riwayat that are there. But nonetheless, Imam at that last moment is giving us what? He's giving us this wasiyat. Allah fil Quran. Make sure that you take care of this Quran. And Muslimin are the first ones who have done unjust or being unjust and have done injustice towards this Quran. And I'll explain a few verses as to how we have done this injustice. We see we are the ones who have neglected this book, some of us by misinterpreting the verses of Quran, and some of us by focusing on the verses of qital, those verses which are dealing with fighting or battle, those verses which are mutashabihat, which are resembling other verses, either by focusing on those verses which are for our benefit, or by misinterpreting the verses which are going to go ahead and benefit us. We have done injustice. You look at, that's why Amir al-Mu'mineen is reminding us as far as this Quran is concerned. How do we misinterpret these verses? You look at these verses and they take them out of context. These verses, they take them out of context. Muslimin have done a great deal of injustice towards Quran. I'll give you a few examples. For example, they say, well, Islam gives the permission to marry more than one. Gives the permission to have 4 wives. Well, the ayat of Surah Nisa, verse number 3, talks about this. If you are unable to do justice towards these orphans of these widows, take 2, 3, or 4. Up to 4 wives. The Quran is mentioning that very simply. But there was a reason behind. Someone will say, why is Quran even sanctioning us that we can marry 4? No, but there are conditions that are attached with it. As long as you are adil with them, you can go ahead and have 2, 3, or 4. So, well, still I don't buy this. Still I have problem with this. And I'll tell you why it was sanctioned at that time. Because in the beginning of Islam, with all of these wars and battles taking place, these men would go to war, battlefield, they will be killed. And when they will come back home, remaining men will come back home, there will be, many widows in town. Instead of these widows going without any shelter, Quran reveals to Rasulullah to take care of these widows in this way, where each of you can go ahead and take 2, 3, or 4. This was the reason, so that they could also be dependent, they could also be taken care of, not so that they were wandering around in the city without any shelter, and be living a life which is respectable. That was the reason why this verse was revealed. But when Quran knew that it will be misused, right away it associated a condition with it. That make sure that you go ahead and treat them with adl. But then right away Quran also said, lan tastati'u, you will never be able to do any adalat with them. Right away people will say there's a contradiction in Quran. At one place Quran is saying, take more than one, be adil with them. At one point Quran is saying you can never do adalat with them. What does that mean? There's simple contradiction in Quran. No, there's no contradiction. When you stray away from the household of Rasulullah, that's where you find contradiction in Quran. There's no contradiction. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying you can be adil, you can do adil when it comes to giving them equal share, but you can never do adil when it comes to, even if you were to go ahead and try, you will never be able to share the love with them at the same level. This is where you go ahead and put these two together and put in parallel, but nonetheless, it wanted to stop this concept from getting out of hand so that the people don't go around and start marrying. It went ahead and said these are some of the conditions. Muslimin misused these verses and then blamed it on Islam. No, Islam had nothing to do with it. Islam gave the laws, logical laws based on the necessity of the society, but it is the Muslimin, us, who have misinterpreted these verses according to our needs. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. There are two ways of looking at the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One ayat of Quran says, Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. With the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the hearts are comforted. You find serenity of the heart. You find consoling of the heart tranquility of the heart when you do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imagine when you're sitting and the ayat of Quran are being recited upon you. What happens? These ayat of Quran are giving tranquility to you. But at another place in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says what? He says, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجَلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. When the dhikr of Allah is done, their hearts start to tremble. Right away people will say there's this contradiction that exists in Quran. Imam says, Allah fil Quran. Make sure that you take care of this Quran. People will say there's contradiction in this Quran. One ayat says zikr of Allah brings itminan qalb. The other ayat is saying what? The same zikr is trembling your hearts. Now you tell me, itminan and ghayr itminan, this being at tranquility and being shaking or trembling, are these two opposites? Yes, they are. They are equal opposite to one another. Then why is such thing in Quran where one place Allah says dhikr of Allah gives comfort, but another place it says dhikr of Allah trembles your heart? It's a matter of pondering over this Quran, as Amir al-Mu'mineen is saying. Well, you look at these two verses, again, if you were to steer away from the path of Ahlul Bayt, if you were not to follow that hadith, inni tarikum fikum al-thaqalain, then yes, you will find contradiction in Quran. But if you were to follow that path, you will say, no, there's no such contradiction. And I'll give you examples so that you can understand. Imagine a child who's walking down an alley, down a street, dark street, but he's holding on to the hand of his father. Do you think this child has any fear? This child does not have any fear. Why? Although the street is dark, because he has itminan qalb, because he's holding on to the hand of his father. His father might be fearful and scared, whatnot, but this child has no fear. Why? Because he has complete trust in his father, and he's holding on to his hand and he's walking with tranquility and peacefully. That's itminan for him. But the same child, if he had done something mischievous and father had caught him doing it, now he was holding on to his hand and walking down the same alley, now the heart of the kid is trembling. The heart of the kid is shaking. Why is it shaking? Because he realizes that he has done something wrong which his father has seen. Right away the same father is there. At one place his heart is tranquil, at the other place his heart is trembling. This is the same in relation to you and I. When we do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without His disobedience, our hearts are at comfort. But when we do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but there is existing disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right away this heart starts to shaking. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. You can also look at the physician who has done multiple surgeries and has been doing surgeries for 50 years. Heart surgeries, he doesn't have any, it's walk in the park for him. Every time he walks into the operation theater, it's a walk in the park for him. And he does it very smoothly. But for once now, he has to perform the same surgery on someone very important. On someone who's maybe the ruler of the country, someone who's imam of the time, someone who's marja taqleed. Now the same physician, his heart is trembling. Why? Because when he was doing it on ordinary individuals, there was nothing wrong with it. But now that he's doing it on someone important, right away his hands start to shake. Similarly, we see that Quran, people raise these questions, and we need to understand that these verses are there in Quran. That's why Amirul Mu'mineen is saying, Allah, Allah fil Quran. Don't let this Quran be someone else excel in this Quran and you left behind. We find that in Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and there are people who are trying to find these things which might be at odds in Quran. But how do we find out? We don't even read this Quran. How do we find out? We don't even follow this command of Amirul Mu'mineen, for whom we have gathered here tonight to commemorate his shahadat. We see that they say in Quran, there's contradictions there. For example, it says in regards to Jahannam, that this Jahannam is makanan dayyiqa, wa idha ulqu minha makanan dayyiqa, Surah Furqan. That when they will be thrown into this Jahannam, it will be a very tight place for them. Makanan dayyiqa. So that's what tells you in regards to Jahannam. But that another place in Quran, in Surah Qaf, it says that it will be asked, wa naqulu li Jahannam halim tala'ti. We will ask this Jahannam, are you filled? The reply will be what? Hal min mazid. Hal min mazid. No, let it come. Let more come. I have enough space. There's enough space, let it come. He said there's contradiction in these two verses. One verse is saying that it is a makanan dayyiqan. Another verse is saying let it come as much as you want. There's this contradiction in Quran. He said no. Again, if you steer away from the path of Ahlul Bayt, you find contradiction. But if you go to the door of Ahlul Bayt, you'll see no, there's no contradiction. How would Imam explain? He would say, well, you look at this wall right here. You say, if I was to ask you, how many nails can you hammer into this wall? You say, well, tons of nails we can hammer into this wall. As many as you want to. Similar is the example when they are thrown into the hell, there's plenty of space, but each nail that goes into this wall, it's very tightly going in there. Same is the example of this hell, that every single person who's thrown into this hell, he's given this makan and dayyiqa, very tight place, but the Jahannam has enough space to go ahead and encompass as many Jahannami as it wants to. So there's no such contradiction that exists as far as this Quran is concerned. We see that some people focused only on the verses which were talking about qital, which were talking about mutashabihat. We see all of these takfiris today who are passing the fatwa of killing. Right away they use these verses which says, run after these infidels, make them submissive. Until they're submissive, go ahead and kill them until they're submissive. We use these verses, they say, look, this is the license that Quran is given to us to go ahead and kill whoever we want to. These takfiris, they're passing these fatwas based on the verses of Quran. What are they doing? They're doing injustice to this Quran by focusing only on the verses of qital, where Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib ﷺ has said what? He said, تَعَلَّمُوا كِتَابَ اللَّهِ فَإِنَّهُ أَحْسَنُ الْحَدِيثِ وَأَبْلَغَ الْمَوْعِظَةِ وَتَفَقَّهُوا فِيهِ فَإِنَّهُ رَبِيعُ الْقُلُوبِ وَاسْتَشْفَعُوا بِنُورِهِ فَإِنَّهُ شِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. Imam ﷺ is saying, learn this book. Why? It is ahsan al-hadith. It's the best of the conversations. Wa ablagh al-mau'idha. It is the most eloquent of the advices. Wa tafaqahu fihi. Ponder over this book. Why? It's rabi'ul qulub. It's the spring of your hearts. It said, وَاسْتَشْفَعُوا بِنُورِهِ, and then seek shafa'at with the nur of this book. Why? Because it possesses shifa'un lima fis sudur. All the illnesses that exist in your heart, the illnesses of hasad, jealousy, the illness of envy, the illness of prejudice, all of these illnesses that exist in your heart, Quran has the shifa for all of those illnesses. All you gotta do is do tamassuk with this book. That's what you have to do. Amirul Mu'mineen is very clear when it comes to giving us pointing us towards this direction, that this Quran is revealed for you. You should be the one. And then people raise questions that you guys go to the extent and exaggerate by saying that angels used to come to the doorstep of Janab Sayyida. Where do we buy this? How do we even put this thing together? I said, well, if you were to look at the ahkamat and the kalam of Masumeen, you will find that you can also do something where angels will come to your doorstep, let alone the doorstep of Janab Sayyida. Yeah, they were frequent visitors of their doors. But if you want to do something, if you can do something, they will come and visit your door as well. As long as you go ahead and associate yourself. Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam said in this regard. And this hadith is in Usul al-Kafi. Imam said, البيت الذي يقرأ فيه القرآن ويذكر الله عز وجل فيه. House in which Quran is recited, house in which Allah is remembered. He said, تكثر barakatuhu. The blessings increase. وتحضره الملائكة. Malaika come down to your doorstep. Malaika get access to your houses. وتهجر الشياطين. And shayateen stay away from such houses. Then Imam continued by saying, يُضِيءُ لِأَهْلِ السَّمَاءِ كَمَا تُضِيءُ الْكَوَاكِبُ لِأَهْلِ الْأَرْضِ. You know, this house, it shines for the inhabitants of the paradise the way the stars shine for the inhabitants of this earth. When you look up onto the sky, you see these stars shining, right? When the Ahlus Sama look down towards the earth, they see certain houses which are shining. He says, these are the houses in which Quran is recited. These are the houses in which Allah is remembered. Their barakat are increased. The angels come down to the household and shayateen stay away. And then Imam continued by saying, إِنَّ الْبَيْتَ الَّذِي لَا يَقْرَأُ فِيهِ الْقُرْآنِ. House in which Quran is not recited, Allah is not remembered, is the complete opposite of it. تَقِلُّ بَرَكَتُهُ. The barakat decrease. وَتَهْجُرُ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Malaika stay away. وَتَهْضُرُهُ الشَّيَاطِينَ. Shayateen come inside this house. You see how important it is for us to take this Quran, make this Quran to be part and parcel of our life. Imam says this Quran is an advisor who never deceives, a leader who never misleads, a narrator who never speaks a lie. No one will sit beside it, and when he rises, achieves an addition to his life. Don't take this book for granted. And then the second thing that Imam pointed our attention towards, I'll go through it very quickly. Imam said, Allah fi salate fa innaha amudu dinikum. Do not forget the salat. It is the pillar of your religion. There's been immense amount of discussion as far as salat is concerned. I won't go on those details. But the question is, why do we pray? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ghani, why is there a need of praying? When someone bestows a favor upon you, what do? You turn around, you thank them. Imam said the best way of thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is this salat. That should be one reason for you. If you don't consider it to be obligatory to you, that should be one reason that why should you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because you want to be thankful towards Him. Why do you want to be thankful towards Him? Because He created you. It says in Quran, Ya ayyuhan nas ubudu rabbakum alladhi khalaqakum وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. So He created you. Make sure that you will go ahead and worship Him, because He created everything in your universe for you. Not just that He created you, but everything that exists in the universe, it is also created for your sake. It says, الَّذِي جَعَلَ لَكُمُ الْأَرْشَ فِرَاشًا وَالسَّمَاءَ بِنَاءً وَأَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً إِلَى آخِرٍ. That He is the one who has created all of these things for you. سَخَّرَ لَكُمْ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا. Everything that is in between the skies and the earth, it is created for your sake. So when Allah has created everything for us, should we not go ahead and thank Him? Yes, you should go ahead and thank Him. He feeds us. That's why we are thankful, and that's why we go ahead and pray to Him. We recite in the surah, فَلْيَعْبُدُوا رَبَّ هَذَا الْبَيْتِ الَّذِي أَطْعَمَهُم مِّن جُوعٍ وَآمَنَهُم مِّن خَوْفٍ. He feeds you and He provides security for you. If someone was feeding you today, if someone was providing immunity to you, what would you do? You would thank them a great deal. How do you thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? By performing this salat. Imam said, Allah fi salat. Don't forget the salat. فَإِنَّهَا أَمُودُ دِينِكُمْ. Indeed, it is the pillar of your religion. Why do we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because He bestows children upon us. He gives us the ni'mat of children. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَا كَالْكَوْثَرِ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْهَرْ. Indeed, O Prophet, we've given you Kawthar, Janab Fatimatu Zahra, and the progeny that has to come from her, go ahead and do what? pray to us, perform this salat for us. So we see when Allah bestows children upon you, when He gives you offspring, you should thank Him. How should you thank Him? You should thank Him by performing this salat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And then I have 3 or 4 other reasons why should we be thankful. I'll skip those things. Inshallah, we'll talk about it at another time. But this is where we see that Amirul Mu'mineen, how he, if you want to look at these akhlaq hasana, the good habits, and if you want to look at akhlaq sayyi'ah, you can read them all if you want to from the books of akhlaq. But you can learn a great deal, but you might not be able to learn it completely until you see the examples of it. If you want to learn akhlaq hasana, look and dive into the lives and the biographies of Ma'asumeen. And if you want to look at the akhlaq sayyi'ah, dive into the history of those who are enemies of Ahlul Bayt. And you will be able to attain as to what akhlaq hasana is and what is akhlaq sayyi'ah is. We're talking about salat. Imam is giving this wasiyat towards the end of his life. Allah fi salat. How did he used to perform this salat? We see and we find out that he used to stand up in performance of the salat, 1,000 rak'at every single day that Imam would perform. And when Sayyidul Sajideen, Zainul Abideen was asked about his salat, he said nobody could be duplicated as far as the salat of my Jad is concerned. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam takes pride in being the abd of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why we hear such words from Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, Ilahi kafa bi izzan an takuna li rabban. It is enough for my honor that, oh my Lord, you are my Rabb. Wa kafa bi fakhran an akuna laka abdan. And it is enough for my pride that, oh my Lord, I am your servant and no one else's servant. And then at the end, Imam said another thing. He said, oh Allah, anta kama uhib. You are the way I want you to be. Faj'alni kama tuhib. But make me the way you want me to be. Imam is paying so much attention towards this salat that we see why such importance is being paid. There are many reasons we can get into those details, and even when we talk about the shahadat of Amirul Mu'mineen, we see that the nida which was raised, it was what? قُتِلَ عَلِيٌّ فِي الْمِحْرَابِ لِشِدَّةِ عَدْلِهِ. That Ali was killed in mihrab because of shiddat adl. He's found in mihrab even at the last moment of his life. There are a few stories that I wanted to share with you as far as the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen is concerned. Inshallah, Allah gives us all the opportunity to perform the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen. But we see that how important this ziyarat is. It is found in the books of history, in Muntakhab al-Tawarikh and other books of history, that there was the Sultan Suleiman of the Uthmani Empire. One day he was passing by a place and he came close to Najaf Ashraf. He said, I want to go and do the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen. His Qadi was with him, and you remember the Qadis at that time held great grudges against Ahlul Bayt for whatever reason. He said to Sultan Suleiman that you are Amirul Mu'mineen, you are Sultan Zinde, you're alive, Sultan. Why do you want to go to do the ziyarat of Sultan Murde? Sultan who's deceased. Why do you want to go do that? He said, what do we do? Here I want to go do the ziyarah. My Qadi is stopping me from doing ziyarah. After much debate, they said, let's put it onto Quran. See what Quran has to say about it. They did tafa'ul with Quran, the istikhara that we usually do. And the ayat that came was what? In regards to Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, فَخْلَأْنَ عَلَيْكَ إِنَّكَ بِوَادِ الْمُقَدَّسِ طُوَى. That, oh Musa, remove your shoes. You are entering a very sacred wadi of Tuwa, a valley which is sacred of Tuwa. He looked at his Qadi and said, you are stopping me from going the ziyarat, yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, remove your shoes and go do the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen. You know that the ziyarat of Amirul Mu'mineen was not found for many, many years. And there was apparent reason why. Because of the Khawarij in the early days, It was a fear that they will go ahead and desecrate the grave of Amirul Mu'mineen. And that's why inshallah we'll recite in the Masaib tomorrow when the dafn of Amirul Mu'mineen and the kayfiyat of dafn of Amirul Mu'mineen, how it was carried out. But it was only up until the time of our sixth Imam that we find that in the time of Harun al-Rashid, that one day Harun was going out for the hunting, and he sent his dogs after these deer. He saw that the deer went up on a hill, yet the dogs stayed away from it. This happened a few times that he goes and he says, look what's going on over there. His people go and then they find an old man over there. They bring him back to Harun. He says, what's going on? Why are the dogs not going towards that? This man said, if you give me aman to my life, I'll explain to you. He said, my Jad has told me, and his Jad was informed that Amirul Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib is buried over here. And out of the respect, these dogs are refraining from going to that wadi, that valley which is muqaddas and which is sacred. Even these animals have to that extent understanding, but unfortunately people at the time do not have that understanding. Amirul Mu'mineen in the last moments of his life is giving us this wasiyat. Pay attention towards what Imam is saying. Imam alayhi salatu wasalam is giving two wasaya over here which I mentioned. One in regards to what Quran, Allah fil Quran, that don't let anyone else to excel upon this Quran before you. And then as far as the salat is concerned, don't let this salat slip out and you take it for granted. We see that Maulana Muttaqiyan, this is indeed a very difficult time for his family. Last night we talked about, kal raat aapke samne tazkira kiya tha, کہ امام علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام جب اس رات کو عبادت کر کے مسجد کی طرف گئے ہیں، امام علیہ الصلوۃ والسلام کے فراق پر جب شگاف لگا ہے اور وہ زہر آلودہ تلوار امام کے سر پہ لگی ہے، زہر کا اثر ایسا ہوا ہے امام کے بدن میں کہ ایک دفعہ جب امام کے جسد کو لے جایا جا رہا تھا گھر کی جانب، امام کی مسجد میں امام کی ضربت لگی ہے، ادھر امام نے امام حسن کو نماز پڑھانے کے لیے کہا ہے، نماز پڑھانے کے بعد سے اب کیفیت غیر ہے، کہا چلو گھر کی طرف چلتے ہیں، بیت الشرف کی طرف جا رہے ہیں، میں کہوں گا امام مسجد سے امام بارگاہ کی طرف جا رہے ہیں، لیکن ابھی راستے میں ہی تھے کہ ایک دفعہ امام کا کیا قول ہے، امام کہتے ہیں حسن مشتبہ سے کہ اے بیٹا حسن میرے اصحاب سے کہو بس یہاں رک جائیں، میں نہیں چاہتا یہ میرے ساتھ آگے آئیں۔ امام حسن نے دریافت کیا بابا یہ آپ کے چاہنے والے ہیں، اس سخت مرحلے پہ آپ کو کیسے چھوڑ سکتے ہیں؟ کہا بیٹا وہ صحیح ہے لیکن ابھی گھر پہنچتے ہی زینب و ام کلثوم کی صدائیں بلند ہوں گی، میں نہیں چاہتا نامحرموں کے کانوں میں میری بیٹیوں کی آوازیں پہنچے۔ اجرکم اللہ، خدا کسی غم میں نہ رلائے سوائے غم آل محمد کے۔ بس دو چار جملے زحمت ثواب، امام کو گھر لایا گیا، بچے آتے ہیں، ایک ایک گریا کر رہا ہے، امام کو کہیں سے سسکنے کی آواز آئی، کہا یہ کون ہے جو کر رہا ہے؟ کہا امام یہ آپ کا ضارب جس نے ضربت لگائی ابن ملجم ملعون ہے، اس کے ہاتھوں کو سختی سے باندھا ہے۔ ارے امام کی رحمت دیکھیے، امام کی شفقت دیکھیے، اس موقع پہ بھی امام کہتے ہیں ارے اس کے ہاتھوں کو کھول دو، اس کو پانی پلاؤ۔ ارے کوئی ایسا سلوک کرتا ہے اپنے قاتلوں کے ساتھ، کہا شاید امام پیغام دے رہے ہوں اے کوفے والوں، چند 40 ہجری میں علی نے اسیر کے ہاتھ کھول دیے، اس کو پانی پلایا۔ ارے سن 60 ہجری میں اگر میرے گھر والے اسیر بن کے آئے تو ان کے ساتھ ایسا برتاؤ نہ کرنا۔ اجرکم اللہ، خدا کسی غم میں نہ رلائے سوائے غم آل محمد کے۔ بس آخری جملہ زحمت تمام، امام نے وصیتیں شروع کی، ابھی 2 وصیتیں آپ کے سامنے پڑھی۔ امام نے ہر ایک کو وصیت کی امام حسن کے حوالے سے، ہر ایک کو ہاتھ میں امام حسن کا ہاتھ دیا کہ دیکھو یہ واجب الاطاعت امام ہے، میرے بعد اس کی اطاعت کرنا، میرے بعد اس کا حکم ماننا۔ اور وہ لوگ جن کی کفالت ضروری تھی امام حسن کو تلقین کی، تھی کہ ان کی کفالت کرنا. یہ سب کہہ چکے تو ایک 14 سال کا جوان ہے جس کے بارے میں امام نے کچھ نہ کہا, کچھ تلقین نہ کہی. ایک دفعہ یہ جوان جاتا ہے اپنی مادر گرامی کے پاس. ام البنین آتی ہے, کہتی ہے مولا آپ نے ہر ایک کا ہاتھ حسن کے ہاتھ میں دیا, ارے عباس کا کیا قصور ہے؟ امام نے عباس کو بلایا, حسین کو دریافت کیا, حسین کے ہاتھ میں عباس کا ہاتھ دیا, کہا ہے عباس یاد رکھنا تم میرے فرزند ہو اور یہ سبط رسول ہے, ارے جب تک تم حیات رہو حسین پہ کوئی آنچ نہ آنے پائے. بس امام نے ان آخری لمحات میں زینب کبریٰ کی طرف رخ کیا, بار بار شانوں کا بوسہ لیتے بار بار شانوں کا بوسہ لیتے تھے. کہا بابا آپ شانوں کا کیوں بوسہ لیتے ہیں؟ کہا اے زینب کچھ ہی دنوں میں ان شانوں پہ رسن باندھی جائے گی. زینب نے کہا ارے بابا جس کا عباس جیسا بھائی اس کی مجال کہ شانوں پہ رسن باندھے, لیکن روز عاشور جب عباس شہید کر دیے گئے, شانے کٹ چکے, تو زینب کہتی نظر آئی لقد صدق امیر المؤمنین الا لعنت اللہ القوم الظالمین وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلبون.